clicked. It's like God ordained us to be together. It's like timing was perfect, and we just clicked. It's like now we get into it and we a lot. We combat. He's very combative.
No.
He's combative. It's cool. He's very combative, but we get it and we get over it and we right back.
Welcome back to another episode of the Love Conquers podcast, where I interview dope couples who are going to be dropping gems on areas of their relationship that you may be struggling in. And like always, we have another dope couple on the podcast today. But before I introduce them, subscribe to the podcast, like the podcast, and tell a friend. Help me grow this thing, y'all. So let's get right into it. Let me introduce the Wilsons. How y'all feeling today?
Everything's good.
Good. I've been trying to get y'all on the podcast, and I'm super excited to have y'all. I'm just want to say thank you first for even coming and joining and being the 16th episode.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, no worries. So let's tell the audience, let's tell the people something about y'all. Let's do this. How long y'all been married?
It'll be 9 years, December 9th.
Okay, 9 years. How long have you guys known each other?
9 years.
Literally, we linked up in September. Okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning. He moved me on Father's Day of 2013.
Okay.
Now I asked about him previously from a friend, but she wouldn't give me any information.
So y'all saw each other?
Yeah, he moved me out of my place.
Oh, okay.
He physically moved me.
Okay.
And so that was Father's Day. The day before my birthday, he came by the shop just randomly, like.
When you said the shop?
The barber shop.
Right. Okay.
And he was like, "Can you land me up?" I was like, "Nah, I'm busy." But I was elated that he had called. So I went to the bathroom. I came outside, and he was right there at my station. I was like, "Oh my God!" I was going through a lot during that time, so.
Oh, he was waiting on you.
No, he just came to. He's a popper-upper. That's what you call it. He pops up. So okay. I was going through some drama. He had a girlfriend. I was in a bad relationship, and so maybe a month later, once we cleared our business, we was inseparable. So,
really?
So we got engaged October 15th, and we got married December 9th.
Whoa.
And we linked up maybe the first week in September, and we have been inseparable.
Hold on.
Yes.
Give me that timeline. So September, y'all.
We first date, all that type stuff.
And then October
15th, we were engaged.
The next month.
And then December 9th, we were married.
In 2 months.
Pretty much.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's true.
I didn't know that.
It was next thing you know, he was out there with a sledgehammer and crack of ice in front of the shop.
Wait a second. Hold on. Let's bring this back. Hold on. I have never heard that. So, bad relationship, getting out of something, going through a transition, meet each other, the next month engaged, and the next month married, and now we 9 years down.
9 years down.
Ed, is this a true story, man?
It's a true story. God doesn't make mistakes. And the thing is, it's kind of, it's really kind of strange the way it, I guess, took place. Because even though I was in a relationship and it wasn't good, I was still kind of faithful, kind of loyal, even though it wasn't a good relationship. And I think most people, whether they know it or not, call God something told me, right? So I was coming from a meeting out west, and something told me to call because when I moved her, she told me that she would give me a free haircut, right? So
I was flirting.
This particular day, I just called and asked could I get a line, but she said she generally works off of appointments.
Okay.
So I stopped by anyway. Because something told me just to go by anyway. And she told me that the next day was going to be her birthday. Mm-hmm. But I told her that I was going out of town to see my daughter. My daughter's in Charleston, Mississippi. She's bedridden. Mm-hmm. She had a run-in with a semi-truck. So I told her that I would call her when I came back. And
never did.
But she called me. And I guess like they say, the rest is history.
It took a minute.
You said
you had to line up. You still had to line up some stuff.
She said you were supposed to call me, and actually I had really forgot.
Yeah.
I'm forgetful. So, but I called her, and I was still in a relationship that wasn't good. So I would see her basically for what I would term the briefest of moments. And she was saying, I can't keep doing this. Yeah. I told her, don't worry about it, it's going to be all right soon. Right, so?
The briefest was moments, but the briefest of moments, 10 minutes. And I was like, that's not going to work.
But y'all move so fast. Do I even got to ask, like, I ask all my couples, like, what makes your relationship dope? Like, I guess, like, from what y'all telling me, I'm making my own assumption, but what makes y'all relationship dope? In y'all opinion, like right now, because I got a ton of questions.
We just click. It's like God ordained us to be together. It's like timing was perfect, and we just clicked. It's like now we get into it and we a lot. We combat. He's very combative.
No.
He's combative. It's cool. He's very combative, but we get it and we get over it and we right back. It's a lot of head, but I'm a Leo. He's around.
I'm able to agree to disagree.
Okay.
I'm able to have a whole lot of acceptance. I'm able to allow somebody else to have their opinion. I will ask, have you ever been wrong before? And they will say yes, right? Everybody's been wrong at some point. So if you've been wrong before, what makes you think that you're so adamant that you couldn't be wrong now? And my opinion is worth something too. The way I feel is worth something too. So I'm not going to knock the way you feel. We just have to agree to disagree, and eventually the truth is going to show up.
Y'all, like, this is so good because the reason you said you feel like your relationship is dope, and I'm going to come back to you with the same question, is because y'all click. But y'all so different in the same breath. Like, y'all so different signs, just different, but y'all click though.
But both signs are fire signs, so if that means anything, but it really doesn't mean. That's not the thing. The thing is that from the beginning, we kind of, it's something in that says that we were going to be inseparable, that life without it wasn't going to be good. So sometimes, most of the time, I'll give in.
Not lately, but yeah, he was not lately, but he gives in.
Yeah.
I give in too.
Okay. Being different but click. So are you telling me that you agree with your wife, or what do you feel like makes your relationship dope?
I think her aside, anybody, I'm going to express myself. I'm going to say how I feel, but I have no problem making peace. Cause if it's not no peace, she ain't gonna be good, and she's not going to speak, and all of that, and that's not gonna be good for me. They say happy wife, happy life, and all of that. That may be true, but I don't really give it too much weight. I just don't want her upset, and my goal on a daily basis is for her to be happy, and she knows it because what she'll say is, "I'm not happy."
Right? She'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm not happy. So I know that it's something, if she's not happy, it's something I'm not doing right.
Just for that moment, then I'll stop.
That's good.
That's to get his attention.
Right. But, like, that's so good because most couples, they hold stuff in and they don't ever tell their spouse they're not happy until it's no repair. Right? Like, until it's like, all right, we're about to go separate ways, and the person says, why? Well, I haven't been happy. So the fact that you say that,
it'd be a moment. Just a moment.
I get it though. Like, just like, yo, and then, so you saying the fact that you feel like y'all are dope because if I can turn, and you can tell me if I'm wrong based on what you said, you value the happiness of your wife.
Her being happy, yeah. That's my, I got children, she has a child, but she's my priority. You know what I mean? So even though I may do something that she doesn't agree with, like go move someone, she thinks it's...
because you, like, that's what you do for your work.
Well, no,
it's a sad house.
Right. My job is I'm like a case manager, a counselor, and a whole lot of other different stuff.
No, I get it, but you also do moving.
Moving is how God is awesome. I moved her mother. I moved her mother, and the guys at the time I was going to Harold Washington, and the guys that worked for me, her mother called and told me that, where's the glass to my table, to my dining room table? I told her, I said, well, Miss Trudy, I don't know. Let me call Derek and find out. So I called Derek, and Derek said, well, we took it upstairs. I called it back. I said, Miss Trudy, they said they took it upstairs. But the next time I got on my truck, the glass was on the truck broken. It was still wrapped up. So I called her, and I said, Miss Trudy, I don't know why they lied. The glass is on the truck broken, but I'll replace the glass. So I took the glass down 60-something in Cottage Grove at the glass place. The glass actually cost more than the move.
Wow.
And I had paid them, and her mother told me that the glass was better than the glass she had. So when her daughter needed to be moved, she told her to call me. So if I had no integrity, if I couldn't be trusted, she never would have trusted me with her daughter. Now the Bible says some stuff like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I wasn't looking, right? Because every time I pick someone, my picker is off. I picked the wrong person. Over and over again, I generally pick the same type of person. So I felt like I found her, like she said, that God put this together. It had nothing to do with me. But I had to prove myself worthy by being trustworthy with a glass that cost more than the move. I could have told her, man, I already got paid from her. Let her figure out how she's going to get the glass herself. But I didn't do that. So she trusted me with her daughter.
Wow, that's powerful. So you feel like you got blessed.
Well, I did.
For doing what you were supposed to do.
Right.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So I know y'all going heavy on like blessings, being where you're supposed to be, you know, and doing what you're supposed to do at the right time, and that's cool. And then, you know, being able to click with somebody even though y'all opposite, which a lot of people struggle with. Like a lot of people don't know how to figure that out. So like, was it hard in the beginning I'm pretty sure 9 years in the game now, like y'all know who each other are. But most people, they'll date, right? Like for a couple months or a year or a couple years, then they figure out a person. Was that transition hard to figure out each other, or was it just a good flow?
It sounded like it was a really good flow. It was just like we was best friends.
Yeah.
And we still are like best friends. He's like my best friend. You know, so it's like it was just meant to be. You know, I trust him with just about anything. You know.
What made y'all trust each other so fast though? Because like for me, you know, interviewing couples, talking to people, I hear that a lot, which is that friendship piece. But y'all did everything within 2 months. Like, I'm saying that now that I know this, you know, I knew something kept telling me I needed y'all on the podcast. I just like, you know, to be honest, I saw y'all, you know, through the barbershop because you're a barber. And I'm like, man, y'all relationship seems so cool because you cut your husband's hair. I never seen that, right? A female barber cutting her husband's hair. I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then like cultivating that relationship with you, I'm like, y'all just seem like a good couple. But knowing this, you know, that's big because like, what gave y'all how did you trust each other? Like what occurred that was like, I don't know, you said God, like, you know, put you in a place, in a position. But what made you trust her so fast, especially coming out of a bad relationship?
Well, she was in a bad relationship too. But that had really nothing to do with it because once I was through with the other relationship.
Yeah.
It had, you know, it's like this. I think if I leave a bad relationship and then there's something about her that reminds me of the bad relationship, then I would start looking at her the same way even though she hadn't done anything. She hadn't misused my trust, right? So personally, for me, what I have to do if I'm going into a new relationship is give her the opportunity to hurt me like someone may have before, because I have to trust her. Because if I don't trust her, I'm not being fair. That's not fair. How can I put something on her that she's never done? You know what I mean? So I just trust her, and if she's going to misuse my trust, it wasn't meant anyway. And I've got this crazy thinking. I generally think positive about everything, right? So I think that all the past failed relationships, is only preparing me to appreciate the right relationship. See, when I run into the right relationship, then I'm even grateful for those failed relationships because now I have more appreciation for them.
So you saying you knew it right away then, based on the past?
I'm like not a people person. I'm more of a street type person. So I pay attention to everybody. I can kind of read people pretty well. If a situation is happening, like we was at the Pancake House, and nothing had happened, but the way that the people were acting, I knew that something was about to go down. And she was saying, should we go outside? I said, no, the last thing we're going to do is go outside, get in the corner. And I got in front of her, and the next thing you know, shots was fired. So I'm kind of a street type person. I've been around the street. I know I can read people pretty well, and I can kind of read her.
So instantly being around her for those few weeks, you were like,
this the one.
I know, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Was it, so he's talking about intuition. What gave you was it your same intuition based on like failed relationships, or was it, or did he do something different that was like, I'm all in with this?
Well, it started off, I won't say bad, just kind of sketchy with him being in a relationship in the briefest of moments. It was like, okay. So then once he came around, he came on so strong. You know, he was calling me 4 names. And he say 4 names. You know, and he said, I'm going to give you 4 names.
Okay.
And so there was adding the Wilson onto my name. My first, my middle, my last, and then Wilson. So I'm
like within weeks though.
This was September-ish. This was, yeah. And I'm like, boy, stop playing with me. You know. Yeah, so he was like, okay, we'll see. And so we'll see. You know.
Did you propose to her? Right.
I don't know how that really went down. I told her that we were, and she said, well, she wasn't playing. We went from engaged for what, a week?
Wasn't no week.
No, it wasn't no week.
But I mean, you just said it like,
you know.
Okay, let me ask you.
I think we want to be together. Now that's for us to move as fast as we did, like from the engagement to the marriage. We want to be together. We want to be in one house. We want to be together. So we say, well, hey, let's just make it legit.
So do y'all know that this is rare, or is this not rare?
I don't even really think about it. You know, it's one thing that everybody experiences all day, every day. And that's just life, man. This is just our life experience. This is just what was happening in our life. This is just the way God set it up for us in our life. And it's not like we're teenagers or early 20s. So why were we playing around? Why were we waiting? If we wanted to be together, why won't we be together? And if it was a mistake, it's one thing about mistakes. They can always be corrected. I could have went my way, she could have went her way.
So let me ask both of y'all this based on what you just said, because that's really good. Do you think age matters? Like in terms of, would you recommend or not recommend somebody if they're in their 20s, even early 20s or late 20s, to be like, you moving too fast?
I would say that you're moving too fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you haven't had the opportunity to live, even though now they have people that grow up together, know each other in Elisa, right? They knew each other from the block. They girl, right? So that worked. But for me to just meet somebody as a teenager or early 20s, and it's love at first sight, and we don't know anything about each other, nothing, but we decided we're going to get married. Now the relationship may be terrible, boyfriend and girlfriend, except for the sex. All we had in common is sex, right? And we may like a couple things because she's just really starting to get into sports, right? She's a stepper, and I'm an athlete type guy, right?
Okay.
So now she's just coming around to sports. I like dominoes and chess and stuff like that. She doesn't like that stuff, but she hadn't given herself a chance. But I'm not really into stepping. As a matter of fact, she tells me I hucklebuck. Right?
I haven't heard that one.
So, but I go out with her because that's what she likes to do.
Got it.
And
so you say based on that, like y'all had time to figure out who you are as individuals first.
I knew that I didn't mind sacrificing stuff. You know what I mean? Like going to a stepper set. I wouldn't have ordinarily just went to a stepper set.
But you don't think in your 20s you would have sacrificed that? I'm saying if somebody wanted to do something.
Maybe with a motive. You know what I mean?
Got it.
I would have went with a motive.
But now it's like you were just, look.
Because that's what she likes. So, I mean, I need to learn how to be a part of what she likes.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's a grown man.
Right.
I like that. What about you? Do you think he said no, like flat out, like no, I wouldn't recommend nobody, like based on the experience that y'all had, in terms of age.
Not that young, because you have to learn yourself. I mean, I don't have anything against young people. I just think you need to experience life. You know, I mean, if it works, it works.
Right. I mean, we always have.
This is an exception. I mean, it's an 18-year difference between us. You know.
And I was married before in my early 20s, and we were too young. You know what I mean? So she and I was too young.
How long were you married with that marriage?
You know, I don't even really know. I don't even really know when we got divorced. We have 2 children, and she and my dad every day almost was telling me, "Y'all should get married. Y'all should get married. Y'all should get married." To the point that they wore me down, and I said, "Okay, let's get married." So we wasn't getting married for the right reasons. It's like I work with people with some substance issues, and they continue to try to do it for someone else, and it doesn't work because they're not doing it for them. So if I had been saying let's get married because I want to get married, maybe it would have worked if she wanted and I wanted. She wanted to get married and I wanted to get married. She wanted to be with me and I wanted to be with her. But we had, in the previous marriage, we had children, so we were getting married for all the wrong reasons. It didn't work. Not to say now we could have had children and it worked, right? If the feelings were there, if everything was clicking, you know what I mean?
Got it. Were you married before?
No.
Never. All right, so that still was a big step for you then, because based on your experience, and then I forget you said like your whole relationship is unique. Getting married in 2 months, that's not the norm. Like, was it anything moving into the relationship that you were expecting? Or you were just free, or you were just...
I was just happy and felt like I was in love, and I just felt like found somebody that finally, loved me for me,
Talk about that, because both of y'all said it. Like, I feel like I have talked to a lot of people that they felt like somebody was the one, and they didn't take that leap. But both of y'all saying the same thing, which is, I felt she was the one. Like, a couple weeks, you said, I had the feeling. And you said, like, especially, I got to hone in on this, especially coming out of something that wasn't working. Because most people say, well, I need time now. I just need to be to myself, or I just need
I felt like I was by myself anyway.
So it didn't make a difference. But you still felt like he was the one, instantly.
Pretty much, yeah.
What does that feel like? Does it look like something for those people who like, well, I don't know if she's the one. I don't know if he's the one.
Everything, you know what I did when it first started, and I would do this with relationship in the past. I was like, God, send me a sign. Don't waste my time. If it's not to be, don't waste my time. And what happened was, he was still in a relationship. He was easing out of it.
Yeah.
And he kind of broke up with me. And I was like, oh my God. But then the next day, we were inseparable. Something I don't recall exactly what happened, but that was my sign, and I was like, okay, it's not gonna work. But it wasn't a lasting sign, which is kind of crazy. But
so you say ask God for a sign?
Yeah, and I asked him for the sign, and I guess the sign was, to open his eyes up to see, if this is really gonna be what it was. So.
And you said the sign was her mother, or was the sign
no,
something
that's
else?
her. I mean, I trust God. I trust God completely. I trust God. I think that He ordained stuff. He put stuff in the place. So meeting her, the first time I met her was at Marista's barbecue. And I saw her for the briefest of moments. And even though I didn't know she was asking about me, but I saw her again when I was moving you, right? When my brother and I went over to price the job, right? And then I saw her again on moving day. So I had no idea that.
He showed no interest on moving day.
Because I had somebody, right?
I'm about to say, how could you show no interest? You got this woman,
but
she looking good, she looking like she interested.
But I had someone.
Okay.
So even though my other relationship, it wasn't. I mean, I should have known immediately that it wasn't going to be a good relationship, because the first time that she came to my home and I left out the room, she was going through my phone, right?
Oh, wow.
So she had trust issues.
So you already saw the sign.
Right, but I still maintained a relationship, right? But that let me know that someone in her past, it's like I was telling you earlier, somebody in her past had hurt her, right? And so she had trust issues, and she lumped everybody into that same basket, like this is who men are. And nothing could be more wrong than to think that just because the guy has his pants sagging and a hoodie on, that he's a thug. That's not always, that's not the truth. He may be the most intelligent guy on earth. He may be going to get his PhD. You don't know what he is, but you've already classified him based on his dress.
Right.
You don't know anything about him. So she assumed that all men basically were the same. So she really had trust issues through the whole thing. And the last day that she and I played, it was going to be a struggle in that relationship anyway, because we were both competitive. We played dominoes, we played backgammon, we played cards, whatever it was we played, we would race to get home, because we were competitive. So we were always competing against each other instead of doing stuff with each other. You know what I mean? So that wasn't going to work anyway.
And so, based on those experiences, and you kept seeing your wife, like you kept seeing, and you.
Well, once initially, I think after the trip to the barbershop, and I came back, and she called. I think from that point on, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be.
But what about that though? Was it that she was serious? Like, was it what was it for you? Because once again, you do have an age difference. Like, you are older than her, so you have had experiences, and so I'm pretty sure you have had women call you before, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so what was that? That call meant something to you, or it showed you something. What did it show you?
I think she called me that day.
I did. I told you.
She called me that day and said, "You made my day."
Right, because I was feeling really bad. My mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was going through her. She didn't have to have chemo, but she was healing, and so I was over there taking care of her, and it was really stressful, and it really boosted my spirit, because I felt like it was just I was going down the chute,
And so about him coming, just being him, just.
Kind of popped up, showing a little interest.
Right.
Yeah.
It just popped up, really.
I needed it. That's what I needed for that moment.
Got it. So do you feel like that's? I just want to sit on that for a second, because that's a gem in itself. I always say gem alert, but that's a gem in just showing a person you care. But you didn't even know she was going through that at the time.
No, but God did.
So you was just present.
Something told me just to go by there. And generally, if you really stop to think about it, most people, God's most used name is something told me.
Something told me.
Yeah, everybody said it. Something told me to do this, or something told me to do that.
So a lot of times, based on my question that I originally asked, like how could you help somebody know, like, because y'all felt it, what that feeling looked like, what it sounded like, what just being present to what did you hear?
I think
because you said God told me.
We're spirits. right? So I think a lot of time we have to listen to our spirit. And a lot of time we don't listen to our spirit, we listen to our flesh, right? So a lot of time your spirit is saying something, but what you have is choice. So you don't have to listen to your spirit. You don't have to listen to your flesh, but you're going to make a choice. You're going to listen to something, because every day, all day, we activate choice. You know what I mean? So when my spirit told me, well, just go by there, and I was out west. That's the crazy part to me, really looking back at it right now. I was out on Central Park in Jackson, by Jackson and Central Park. And something told me, even though I couldn't get the haircut, the line, and something told me still to go by there.
You sure it wasn't no alternative motives?
No, because I had no expectations of anything. I wasn't looking to do anything. And I'm kind of pushy. And I think that even though she may be working off of appointments, somebody wasn't going to show up by the time I got there. Stuff like that. Right? My mind works like that.
Got you.
And she tells me that to the day. Well, you have to do this. You have to schedule this. I'm not basically a last person.
He's a last minuter.
I just go. I'm spontaneous.
I'm structured. Time, early. He's.
What's good, y'all? Look, we got to take a quick break, and we're going to get right back to the podcast. I just got to highlight our sponsor of the podcast, 7 Love Apparel Clothing Brand. One of the hottest clothing brands coming out of the Chicagoland area. They cater to men, women, and children. It's fashionable all year round. And they represent what the podcast represents. Family, love, and unity. So, go get you some 7 Love Apparel Clothing Brand right now. Go to 7loveapparel.com and type in Love Conquers 20, and you'll get 20% off because, they're a sponsor of the podcast. So let's get right back to this episode. I mean, y'all giving a lot of good information. Be present to the signs when you figure out if, somebody's made for you. Be present. Like you said, you were just led, and you actually followed your intuition. You actually followed what you felt. And I don't know, maybe a lot of people don't follow that. Because maybe a lot of people are not. Because I talk to a lot of guys all the time, and they say, man, bro, it's hard to find a girl nowadays. I'm like, is it really? I don't know. I haven't been in the dating world in a minute. I've been with my wife for a long time now. So I'm like, is it really that hard? And I see people post on social media like, I can't find a person, or I can't find a spouse. And I don't know. What is that? Do you think people are just not listening? They're not in the right environments? What do you think that is?
I think we're imperfect people looking for somebody else to be perfect. We want the perfect this, the perfect that, but we are all imperfect. But I know I'm imperfect, but I'm looking for somebody else to be perfect. I want everything you do to be right. And that's impossible. It's not going to happen. That person don't exist. You know what I mean?
No, and I'm taking that in. That's good. And I really don't even know, where to take that, because a lot of people feel like they stuff don't stink.
Well, I think that's what really makes our relationship really good. I'm able to allow her to be her. You know what I mean? I ain't telling you got to be this, or you got to be that, or you got to do this, you got to do that. The stuff you don't like to do, you just don't like to do. So why would I be trying to force you to do some stuff that you don't like to do?
So, and based on what you just said, and I want both of y'all opinion on this, because y'all been together 9 years, and that 9 years is really the entire time too. Like it ain't no maybe off and on, and y'all was together 9 years. Based on that, was it some time that do y'all do a lot of stuff separate then? And
I moved people, she cut hair, but other than that,
y'all together. It. Well, so how did y'all get through those moments where, like you just said, she really just now coming along with the sports, and I'm.
But the sports is something we can sit down at TV together. We're together doing the sporting events, right? She even took me to a basketball game, right? Because she know I like it. So she took me to a basketball game. But getting her to come somewhere to play dominoes and stuff, that ain't with her. You know what I mean?
It's a totally different dynamic. I'm gonna try, but that's a totally different dynamic.
So with the sports, like when you go to the sports, you just trying it because he likes it.
I learned to like it.
Right.
I mean, I always liked basketball, but now to see football, I didn't know. I hated football. Now I like football
Because of him.
Because of him. Because I want to be included. It's something we can do together.
And she's in the barbershop with Ed and the other guys are constantly talking about it.
Well, give me a conversation piece.
Right. So
that's good because I didn't walk in the shop and I didn't heard just talking some sports now.
Right. So that's a lot of that is Ed and the other guys that's in there, especially Coach and Keith them and Ed and Frost and a couple of other guys. They are talking about sports constantly. So if she wants to be part of the conversation, she has to learn. You know what I mean?
Did you have any intention behind it, Angie, in terms of like knowing that your husband liked it? Like, was there any intention?
Yeah, because I mean, it's on the TV. It's at home. It's on TV. You get in where you fit in, right? So if I don't want to go up in a room, see, I got a son that went away to school, so we were empty nesters for a while. COVID hit, he was back, and that's a long story, but at just being us, he's either in the back room or I'm up in the room watching TV. So if we want to be together, you got to get in where you fit in. I know he don't want to watch Atlanta Housewives,
but I do sometimes.
Stop it.
Sometimes no, I can name Portia and all them other doggone.
He named people now.
Stop it. The basketball wives, all that different stuff.
Listen, I'm asking because we can really help some folk right now, right? Like, because there's some people who argue over that. You know, you never spend time with me. You always watching a game. Or you never spend time with me. You always going out, maybe stepping or whatever. Or whatever that person does. Like, how can you help somebody? Like, what do you do in those moments? And I'm really looking for an answer from you because you said you didn't like it. Like, you didn't like the football. Mm-mm. But you knew that your husband did, and you said, I had to fit in. Like, that fitting in piece, was it hard, though? Because you didn't come from that.
Because I didn't want to go upstairs and be by myself, you know. I don't spend a lot of time by myself in the past year or so. You know, I want to be with my husband. So I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out let me ask this question about this, and what's a fumble, and is that a touchdown, or is that a field goal? Is that a punt?
Yeah.
You know, my husband's type, his voice, he has this bass and this.
He got that Barry White stuff. But
it's kind of, what word do I use? That is brash. He's very brash.
Gotcha.
But I know his brashness. You know, if you order a cheeseburger at the drive-in, it's just brash. And I'm like, they don't know you like I know you. But anyway.
So it can come off.
It comes off really. Yeah.
So like in the beginning, offensive. Was it like tough?
It's still like that. I'm just like, whatever.
So you say you weighed the pros and cons. Like, yo, I would rather be with my husband.
Yeah, I'd rather be with him to go up there and watch the Housewives. I can watch that later on a Monday or Tuesday when I'm off and he's at work.
How did you incorporate your wife in that? Because, okay, y'all giving the gyms now. Let's go. So a person come, they say, look, I want to be with my husband. Right? I don't know nothing about football. I don't even like football. But how did you incorporate her to make her feel comfortable with you? Like, did you even want her with you?
Yeah, all the time. Initially, it probably wasn't good because I'm kind of impatient.
Okay.
And when I tell her what a 1st and 10 is, what a 1st and 10 means, and then she turns around and asks me again, what the heck does what it means by 1st and 10, and I have to tell her again and maybe again, I'm kind of impatient. But I think the key is sacrifice, right? And don't be so selfish. I think in a lot of relationships, period, it doesn't have to be a married relationship, just relationship between people. I'm selfish, I want what I want, and this is how it should be. It's like I'm not willing to sacrifice or see it your way sometimes. I'm not just so closed-minded that I can't receive some new information. Because like I said before, I've been wrong before, so let me sacrifice some stuff. What's the end motive? Because when the game is over, I'm still with my wife, right?
Say that.
So I'm not finna let this game mess up the night, right? Dang, man, baby, no, right? because they
let me rub up on you a little bit.
Push me to the side, right, for the game.
Let me ask you this. I guess this is important. Like, were you always like that? Or did you have to just learn that over time?
I think it's over time, man. I think initially growing up, it's hard, especially if somebody hadn't shown you that you were wrong, to say that to feel like you're wrong. What you're thinking is wrong, because I'm thinking that I'm always right. It's almost like it's kind of almost like religion, right? You know how all the religious arguments, right?
Yeah.
But or whatever it is, and I like to tell people that even though we may disagree, if you thought like I thought, and I thought like you thought, we both still think that we're thinking the truth. So I have to look at it from a different perspective other than mine, but that's just over a period of time. See, I've been on the planet, so I've got this some experiences.
Got it.
So my experience allows me, like you said, but you had to get through that. Like, I don't smoke, right? But I used to smoke.
Got it.
And it took a while to get around to the point to where I don't smoke. And I'll tell her, babe, you smoke. You can't be. She said, but you had to get there, right? I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything.
Right.
Right. But that wasn't always the case. It was a process of getting to that point where I don't smoke and I don't drink. I still don't want her to smoke.
That's another thing. He don't drink. He don't smoke. I don't smoke a lot, but I do smoke. But I don't drink a lot, but that's how opposite we are. He don't drink at all. Period. So we go out. I drink. He don't drink. I don't drink, but I'm not a big drinker though. But that's another thing. So we just total opposites. We go out. You want to drink? Have a drink.
I'll go to the bar to get the drink for. Be you. Now, I don't want a robot, right? I don't want a robot. I want you to enjoy being you. Don't do it. Don't overindulge where it's going to hurt you. I'm the designated driver anyway. If we're both not drinking,
right?
I'm the designated driver. She, even though she drives from the passenger seat,
right? Turn here.
Right. But I'm basically the designated driver.
Gotcha.
But I just want her, again, like we were saying in the beginning, man. I wanted to be happy. Even to the point there. Everything happens on a Sunday because Sundays I'm just totally off. I'm not moving anybody. I'm not doing anything. But way back when, I already agreed that Sunday is your day. Whatever you want to do Sunday, we're going to do.
Yeah.
Now, if a really big move comes with some good money, babe, I'm sorry. But basically, Sunday's her day.
Sunday's her day. So the key for you, like you said, is her happiness is key. And you understand that at the end of the day, after that particular thing, you got to go back to your wife anyway.
Anyway, she's not going anywhere.
So you might as well. That sacrifice is big.
Mm-hmm.
Let me come back to you, Ms. Wilson. What is the big key that you can tell somebody in terms of being so different but clicking? Because, like, people get divorced. We know that. People argue. Like divorce. Okay, separation. They say separation is the worst, right? Let's just say that. But people live in the relationship. That might be worse when you in a relationship and you just like miserable. Yeah. Like that might be worse than divorce because your every day is toxic. But y'all every day isn't toxic. It's just different. And so like, for that woman out there, or that man out there that's going through that, I don't know, I love this person. I really want to be with this person. But they so different from me. I don't even kind of understand them because they so different from me. Like, what would you tell that person?
I think it's really important that you have to like that person. It's the difference between liking and loving. You can love somebody, but you don't have to like them. Gem alert. You can love your husband and not like him. You can love your husband and not be in love with him.
Say that again.
I said you can love your husband but not be in love with him.
What does that mean?
That means you can love him as a person but not have that love and feeling like you're in love with him. Like that romance and all of that type thing. I like my husband. I love my husband. I'm in love with my husband. He's my best friend. And I think that's what makes us click.
That's deep. And I can relate to that so much because I always tell my wife, like, yo, I'm gonna love you, and it's okay if you don't like me today, like, and that's fine. We're gonna talk about it because it's life,
right?
You know what I mean? And the fact that you said like that likability, like you gonna always love your husband, but
right. I don't like him every day now,
right?
But I really like him. I genuinely like him,
like as a friend, as a human being.
Yeah, but on some days I don't like him.
I like it though.
But most of the time,
just knowing, like, okay, I love you. Like, if you pass away, I love you. Like, if you need me to do something, I love you. But, like, do I like you, though?
Right. Do I like you?
Like, can I just be friends with you?
Right.
And I think that connects with that sacrifice piece that you were talking about, because if you like somebody, you can sacrifice for that person.
I think a lot, too, man, you have to, what I do with Angie, more than anybody, any relationship I've ever been in, is I trust her. You know, people say, man, your wife's a barber?
Yeah.
She cuts men's hair? I tell them, yeah. They said, man, you let her cut men's hair? She was cutting hair when I met her. But you don't mind her cutting the men's hair? I said, man, she was cutting men's hair and she picked me. I'll say, babe, you want to go over to such and such and go stepping? I don't have to be there. I know guys are going to be trying to hit on her because she's attractive, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. They're going to be trying to hit on her. They're going to put their hands on her while they're dancing with her. But I trust her. I don't trust them. I don't trust the guys whose hair she cuts.
So let's talk about that real quick. So you, and I'm not going to say let her, because she is her own person, but right. And I don't even know. So you do step with other men?
Like, I mean, when I don't go out anymore like I used to. But yes, it's a.
No, and I'm asking that because stepping is a
physical.
Yeah, it's a flow, and like you said, what made you feel? Because a lot of men not that comfortable to let their woman do. Some men don't even want their woman to talk to another man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, don't even. So when you say, because that's how I met your wife, in the barbershop, right? And I thought that was pretty cool for your wife to have her own barbershop, because I don't see that, a lot of women doing that. And I'm like, and I'm seeing all these men like getting haircuts by her and super professional, right? And what gave you that, because you said she's the person that you trust out of everybody
I've ever met.
Why?
Well, she hasn't given me any reason to not trust her, one. Two, I'm not insecure, right? And three, this is what she was doing when I met her.
But people want people to change.
But why would I want you to stop doing what you enjoy? You went to school to be a barber. Mm-hmm. You have your own shop. Mm-hmm. You were cutting hair when I met you.
Yeah.
I don't have to run up there every 5 minutes to check to see whose hair you're cutting. Any of that. I'm not insecure, right? And trust. I mean, and me trusting you means that I ain't got to watch you. I ain't got to go to your phone. I don't have to. And I can leave my phone laying around you, right? You can take my car to take your car. I don't have to check anything because I trust you. And if I didn't trust you, we couldn't have a relationship.
Anyway,
we would be. But the other people at the end of the day, we would be miserable. We would be miserable with each other.
Talk about those keys of trust, Angie. In terms of, 'cause a lot of people don't trust people nowadays. Right. Like, people just don't trust people. It's always they gotta have their stuff. And I'm not even talking about just relationships. I'm talking about people don't trust their friends. People don't. It's always they secretive. Like, for you, was it something different? And I think maybe I asked you this earlier, but and I guess I asked this question. Since both of you guys are grown, you live life. You had previous relationships. What stopped y'all from being insecure? Like,
I have my insecurities. I can't say I don't.
Okay.
I do. From my past, I do.
Got it.
But that's why I go out. I don't say go out my way, but just not. I like for him to know where I am, what I'm doing. You know, to give him no inkling that I just like to be consistent. So that means when I think, especially about the streets being so bad. If I'm leaving work, babe. I'm going to stop here and get some food, babe. What do you think about this, babe? You know, he needs to know where I am. You know, that ain't him asking. That's me letting him know, because I think he should know where I am. What am I doing? You know, how am I moving? You know, because anything happened in a split second, he wouldn't know where I was or what I was doing. You know what I mean?
No, that's good.
Yeah, and although that's weird, I'm not always on that page. You know what I mean? Because I just take it for granted. I take stuff for granted. I'm positive, optimistic. I'm not pessimistic. I don't think this is going to happen. That's going to happen. And even though I know that makes sense what she says, I don't always do it. You know what I mean? I don't always say, hey, babe, I'm going to stop over here to see my brother, right? Or I'm going to stop at the club up here. Or I'm going to stop anywhere and do this, do that. So when I don't, even though we've had this conversation about 1,000,000 times, my mind works different.
Got it.
And I'm just going along with my life. You know, I don't see anything. I don't think about, dang, I hate to say report in, because I know that if something did happen, at least she know where area I should be in if she had to come look for me. If she calls me and I don't answer, you know, then with her antennas go up. She could be a worry reward.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? With me, I just trust everything.
But both of y'all said something that was super dope, and I'm gonna say super deep. Like, you know, going back to what you said about, you basically said people who are dealing with insecurities or trust issues. Like, yo, we'll communicate. You know, I know you don't communicate like she does, but
at least one of us do.
Yes, you might have to communicate more. You might have to communicate with your spouse.
Got to.
And so I'm pretty sure, even though you don't do it, I'm pretty sure that gotta help. Like, it just gotta make you feel some type of way. Okay, I know my wife gonna communicate with me. And then the second thing you said was be consistent. Like, I'm big on that.
Oh my God, that's like the biggest thing.
That's like, for me too, which is like, hey, you've been doing this X, Y, and Z for a month. Now you just switch it up on me. Like,
oh my God.
Listen, that's so big for me, because not because I'm checking tabs or any of that. It's just my mind. I think you know what it is. I think the mind goes into, it's like habit. Like, if I go to the gym every single day at 6 a.m. and then I don't do it for a week, my body gonna feel different. Mm-hmm. So I think the mind, that's just the habit of the mind to be like, I'm doing this, or I'm talking to this person at this time, I'm doing that, and then it's don't do it. It's like a shock. And so, you know, that's deep. But then you followed up and said, I thought it was, and I really want people to catch that. You said if something happens to you, your wife will at least know the area you in. And so for me, that just told me, like, be where you say you're gonna be. You know what I mean? Like, you're not saying you're gonna be on 55th and Stony Island, on Jeffrey somewhere, and then your wife come over there, and then you all the way on the west side. Like, you relatively are where you supposed to be.
Oh yeah.
And so that's big though, because I'm pretty sure, like, it helps with, you know, people that's dealing with insecurities. If they did just want to surprise their spouse, and then every time they try to do something, go to that area and they not there, it's like, whoa, can I even
trust you?
Yeah, it's like, you're not never where you say you are. Why is that? You know? And so that was big in terms of just some gems and tactics. Be where you say you're gonna be. Communicate to your spouse. Be consistent. You know, I love that.
That's a whole lot of her, that ain't a whole lot of me. That's a whole lot of her. I think because I just never really had to do that. And she says, well, you were doing it in the beginning, but sometimes I'm just, old habits die hard. You know, people say old habits die hard. And I never really had to do that.
Got it.
I would just go.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But right now, I get it. Right now, you're not just in one of them just go stages. you got somebody else that's really, really there, wanting to know and even care. You know, it could just be care and concern. Heck, I want to know that my husband's okay. She does it. I expect her to do it, right? Because that's what she does. But a lot of times, heck, I don't. Sometimes, man, I don't think about, man, I need to call Angie and tell her I'm fixing to stop at the club. Hell, I might be trying to sneak by the club to play a quick game of dominoes without her knowing. You know what I mean?
Right. At least you're doing something that won't damage our relationship.
Oh no, it's not. She know I love playing.
And somebody else sneaking, they sneaking for another reason. Right. So
yeah, well, no, that I hope she knows that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
No.
You know.
But she should know that from the briefest of moments, because I was in a relationship and she knew I liked her, but I still wasn't all in. She knew that when she was gorgeous and I'm moving her and she's trying to flirt with me and I wouldn't flirt back.
Did that tell you something back then? Like, did that give you any like?
He wouldn't flirt back, but he liked it.
I mean, it's okay.
He liked it, and I was just reeling him in. That's all.
But it
did say something, you know, because
most men, I'm gonna be honest, like you around men, we men, we've been around. Like most men don't they don't operate like that.
You're right.
Like a woman flirting with them, especially they think pretty. Oh man, unless they committed to something, committed to another human being, they just really not on that. But if those two are not the factors, you do that to 100 men.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they gonna fall over. So like that's I think that's a lot to say too about y'all relationship. Just how it started. It started genuine.
Yeah, very genuine.
And I think I don't know. You said it earlier, which is that word. What word did you use? You said like a motive.
Yeah, what's my motive?
Yeah, you said you didn't have a motive going into that and into this relationship, and I think that could probably help a lot of folks if they just start being genuine
and ask themselves, why am I doing this? Because most people do stuff based on a motive. They're not doing it because they don't have a motive. They don't have an agenda. I'm not just doing this. I'm not helping somebody and not telling anybody, right? I'm helping somebody so that I can tell somebody or somebody can pat me on my back for doing it. But I like to help somebody or do something for somebody and don't tell anybody. You know what I mean? God sees you. Why is it important that you know that I helped somebody, that I fed somebody? Then what was my motive? Now I want a pat on the back. You know what I mean?
How can you separate? And then, and this is and I guess we can almost wrap it up with this because y'all done gave the people a lot of gems. How do you separate motive from like when you meeting somebody? Like, isn't the motive too like get to know them? Like, wanna like, oh, I see this pretty girl. Like, I want to get a number. Like, how do you be genuine in that same process, knowing that you see something that you like?
Because you have to be honest with yourself, man. You have to be honest. I've never met any pretty girl and said, Dag, I really would like to get to know your brains. I'm not interested in your brains. My eyes weren't interested in your brains. My flesh wasn't interested in your brains. Matter of fact, I hope you dumb as a box of rocks. Right. So I'm not. It's something that's physically attracting when people meet people. They're not trying to see how smart you are or anything like that.
Oh, so you're saying people come like, they trying to know about your intellectual. They trying to know instead of just being honest.
Honest, but they know. Both sides know. The men know and the women know. Both sides know that there's something about this individual that's physically attractive. Because I don't know nothing about your brain. Your brain ain't what drove me to you. Your brain ain't why I came up on you and tried to get your phone number.
So just be honest.
We are honest because you know and she knows when y'all met. It wasn't because one day we're going to get married, have children. That wasn't even nowhere in the picture.
Is he right? First time you saw him, you said, "Oh, this man look good."
Yeah, pretty much.
You like that?
I didn't have a motive though. I didn't have a motive. It was just like attraction, and I didn't know what kind of money he made. I didn't know none of that. It was just an attraction, and like I said, I think it was like an ordained type thing.
Yeah, I do too, though.
That God just set us at the right time in our lives to come together.
You know what? And that's why, I'm going to say this right now. For all the listeners that's listening, that's why this is the Love Conquers podcast, because 18-year difference. We see each other married in 2 months. And I didn't know none of this. Like, I just always thought y'all was a dope couple to be around. I'm like, y'all an amazing couple to me from what I see. And to be so different. I'm just really realizing, like, okay, maybe they are. But I haven't paid attention to that nuance of y'all relationship. And I'm like, wow. But y'all making it work and y'all thriving and y'all committed to it. I think that's another thing that y'all talked about that wasn't said really. But y'all committed to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas most people, they can be different. And then they let those differences kind of like
tear apart. Yeah,
and they start looking for somebody who more like them. When they probably don't even want nobody like you. It might not even be beneficial for you. So the fact that that's pretty cool. Look, I want y'all to do this favor for me. I always play a game, or I call it a game. But me and my wife did it. And I guess when those differences occur, if y'all having any awkward moments, feeling bad, just try it and see how it worked for you. I know we on a podcast, so I just want you to do it like once or twice. But can you look at each other?
Hey, babe.
And so it's just going to go like this. You're going to say, our unity created this. So me and my wife, unity created our son and daughter. So whatever your unity in the last 9 years created, just go back and forth and say it. Normally I say whoever lose, they got to do something special for the other person. But I'm not going to make y'all go all day. So, Ed, you can kick it off.
Our unity created trust.
Our unity created love.
Our unity created a home.
Our unity created. Oh, man. You put me on the spot.
Finish it off and then you done. You lost. You got to do something special.
Well, I'll do that anyway. Our unity created everything.
Listen, this is the Love Conquers podcast. Their unity created everything. Their unity with me helped me create this episode. Like, subscribe to the episode. I just want to say again, thank you. And then we'll see you next Thursday. Let's get it.